Какви са проявленията на неоколониализма днес? Има ли подобни примери по отношение на Еритрея?
Today, the manifestations of neocolonialism are vivid more than ever. I can name a few circumstances like political and ideological influence, resource exploitation, economic dependence, military intervention, and aid conditionality, and so on. I cannot say that these circumstances are not there in Eritrea. I mean, this is a never-ending process imposed by the Western powers on us. They will never stop, but however, I can say that their impact has significantly been very small and low in Eritrea. Today, people have woken up and started raising their voices against neocolonialism. The struggle is very ambitious, but disorganized, decentralized, and just limited to certain parts of the world. At present, Eritrea defends its interests by mainly engaging diplomatically with countries that share similar view. This is mainly carried out through its foreign missions overseas.
Как изглежда борбата с неоколониализма днес? Как вашата страна отстоява своите интереси и какви са пречките пред това?
Eritrea's foreign policy follows independent political line, no foreign intervention and no any political decision to please Western powers. In addition to this, Eritrea has a declared policy of self-reliance. It attempts to mobilize its own resources without any aid conditionality from Western powers. This is not a new invention in Eritrea. It's been there for decades, as early as the 1970s. Ever since the current government was a liberation front during the armed struggle against Ethiopian colonialism, the president himself, Isaias Afwerki, is an outspoken of this policy since as early as the 1970s. This doesn't mean that Eritrea is not open to any international engagements with partners. For example, there are a couple of joint initiatives and projects in Eritrea carried out by the government of Eritrea in partnership with different organizations like the European Union and different UN agencies. However, it should be pointed out that priority is given to the projects set out by the Eritrean government. So the sectors given priority by the Eritrean government, that's where the projects are carried out by the government and its partners. One of the main obstacles is the global power structure. The international system that includes the United Nations, global financial institutions, and trade organizations is designed in a way where it promotes the interests of the Western powers. So even trying to reform these systems is extremely difficult. Related to this is economic dependence. Many developing countries rely on foreign aid, loans from financial institutions, and export of raw materials. Such arrangement takes away their political independence and affects their foreign policy. Military presence is also another obstacle. Military presence often affects the national policy and it also affects the independence of foreign policy. In addition to this, lack of regional unity is also another obstacle. Countries of the same region who are supposed to fight neocolonialism and who are supposed to be united do usually find themselves stranded in regional conflict, power rivalry, and lack of economic integration. This plays its negative role in prolonging the struggle against neocolonialism. The struggle against neocolonialism doesn't always come without a price to pay. I can give you the example of Eritrea. Because of the fact that Eritrea is vocal about its opposition to neocolonialism, it has been politically sidelined, diplomatically isolated, and economically weak. And this had made it victim of different forms of unilateral coercive measures like economic, military, and political sanctions. I can say Eritrea is the perfect example of what Noam Chomsky would call a rotten apple because of its disobedience to Western influence.
Успя ли Еритрея да върне природните си ресурси в свои ръце?
This might come as a surprise to many people, but Eritrea is one of the few countries in the world with almost zero foreign influence in its internal policies. It is no accident that the government has the ultimate say in controlling the natural resources of the country. Foreign companies involved in the mining sector operate under the preconditions set by the Eritrean government. So all in all, it is safe to say that Eritrea has total control of its natural resources.
България никога не е била колония и е член на Европейския съюз, но въпреки това чужди компании извличат природните ни богатства срещу унизителни концесионни такси от порядъка на 2-3%. Каква е вашата гледна точка по този въпрос? Ако сравним това с ситуацията във вашата страна, какъв би бил изводът?
I just learned about the concession fees the Bulgarian government charged foreign companies extracting Bulgaria's natural wealth. The worst part is that these concession fees are only 2 to 3%. Well, I never expected this to be the case in a European country, but unfortunately that's the case. So I think this is humiliating and utter disrespect to the sovereignty of the Republic of Bulgaria. So these rates, I think, should be revised with new legislations, and they should be designed in a way they benefit the Bulgarian people. Eritrea, on the other hand, receives substantial amounts of income from foreign companies extracting its natural wealth and who are mainly involved in the mining sector. The government, for instance, has 40% share in every foreign company that operates in Eritrea. Only a handful of governments in the world have such a share. So the conclusion is that Bulgaria should go forward with the proposed new legislation to increase the concession fees the government receives from foreign companies. I know the realities and the priorities of the governments of Eritrea and Bulgaria are different, but when it comes to the control of natural resources, I think the Eritrean approach has so many lessons to offer to the Bulgarian people or government.
Смятате ли, че днес съществува дискриминация от страна на Запада към африканските държави? Несправедлив ли е подходът към развиващите се нации, като например съществува ли отказ от предоставяне на достъп до модерни технологии?
It would be ridiculous to think in the 21st century that there is a declared policy of discrimination by the West against African countries, but the real question is there a systematic discrimination? 100%. This is visible in different phases, like, for instance, the United Nations Security Council, through its unfair decisions, the international financial institutions, through their unfair interest rates and the political preconditions that they set, military intervention. Countries operate outside their jurisdiction and they try to intervene in the internal politics of countries. Human rights, having double standards against African countries. Sanctions. Some governments are sanctioned and others are supported for strategic reasons. So, having considered the aforementioned few facts, I can confidently say that the treatment against African countries is very unfair.
Каква е вашата позиция относно съвместните инициативи на бивши колонии, които се обръщат към международните институции с искане за компенсации за щетите, причинени от колонизаторите в миналото? Бихте ли могли да ни разкажете повече за тях? Подкрепяте ли подобни инициативи и защо?
The joint initiatives of former colonies seeking compensation for the damage caused by colonial powers revolve around requesting formal apologies, seeking financial compensation, asking for debt cancellation, and requesting the return of looted artifacts. I support such initiatives, but I also know that the goal is really difficult to attain because unfortunately we're living in a world where former colonial powers are very reluctant to even issue formal apologies, let alone financial compensations. So, unfortunately, we haven't had any successful cases where the colonial powers give full acknowledgement to the colonial atrocities and, as a result, full compensation.